Straight ahead on 12 News, something heating up in the kitchen.
Cooks, I think that's a very wide open field right now.
We'll look at the demand for chefs, plus something you may not know about sunscreen, why it helps to know what ingredients are in the bottle. And later, a Plymouth man's efforts to help recognize teachers.
I don't think most people appreciate what they have to do in the classroom.
12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Perhaps there is no better time to get into the restaurant business.
That's right. Many local restaurants are looking for cooks and other types of workers. As Eric Nelson found out, there are lots of openings these days.
Minnesota, I think, is a great place to come and eat.
Things are heating up in the restaurant business. There is now a buffet of available jobs.
Yeah, we're hiring.
Nona Rosa's in Robbinsdale has a kitchen team of 6 employees. For 2.5 years, this popular Italian eating spot has been trying to add more.
Cooks, I think that's a very wide open field right now.
One of the reasons there are a lot of openings for cooks is because the Twin Cities has become food-centric. There are plenty of restaurants here now, creating lots of competition. But the job is not as glamorous as it looks on TV. The glut of celebrity chef programs has created a false perception of the business.
I kind of laugh when I hear the word chef, because to me, a chef is someone who has earned the title, not someone that has gone just for the training aspect or the educational aspect.
Nobody that graduates from this program is a chef. It's something that's going to take some time.
If your goal is to become a chef, be prepared to pay your dues and log long hours in the kitchen.
It's a difficult job. It's stressful. It's physically demanding.
You're going to get paid, minimum wage at best, and you're going to have to work a lot of hours to get all of the experience that will actually bring you to the level of where you get to be called a chef.
But if young cooks are patient and persevere, the business can eventually be profitable and enjoyable.
In the years that I've been in it, I've never been bored, so it's very exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, but you have to have passion. Don't do it just for the, what you think is the appropriate pay scale. Don't do it because you like to sleep in the mornings and you want an afternoon, evening job. Do it because you love it.
In Robbinsdale, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
David Eisenreich, who teaches culinary arts at Hennepin Tech, says he gets 1 or 2 calls a week from employers looking for help in the food industry.
A local senator's effort to close loopholes on gun background checks got a boost of support from a former congresswoman who was the victim of gun violence. Gabrielle Giffords of Arizona was at a news conference with Senator Ron Latz today to highlight a new survey on gun background checks. They say new research shows 86% of Minnesota voters support expanding background checks to private sales and at gun shows.
We can make it harder for dangerous people to get guns while simultaneously protecting the Second Amendment rights of responsible, law-abiding Minnesotans to own firearms. We know that in other states that have closed these loopholes, rates of gun murders and gun suicides have dropped significantly.
Latz is laying the groundwork for background check legislation in the next session of the legislature. At an informational hearing last week, opponents said universal background checks provide a false sense of security while infringing on gun owners' rights.
Efforts to renovate the Plymouth Ice Center took a step forward this week. A Senate committee's bonding list includes $2.2 million for the Ice Center, and the city wants to build a new roof and replace a cooling chemical that's now considered an environment hazard. It also wants to convert a sheet of ice to a smaller size to make it more versatile. There are still large bonding bill differences to be worked out between the Senate and the House. The Senate's proposal is $1.5 billion. House members reportedly favor a plan about half that size.
Well, today we're hearing from the mayor of Plymouth about her decision to run for the Minnesota Senate. She tells 12 News she originally wasn't considering running, but when the seat became vacant, members of the Republican Party contacted her to give it some thought.
And I said, I don't think so. I've got enough on my plate. But then I thought about it for quite a while, and I had a lot of encouragement from family and friends and people out in the community, and they asked me to really consider it.
The Plymouth mayor says she thought about it for a week before deciding to run. She says what made the decision hard is she loves her role as mayor, but she thought a state senate run would be another way to serve the community after spending a lot of time lobbying for Plymouth at the Capitol.
I see things being done over there that are great and some things that are kind of, maybe not getting the attention that they need. And I'd really like to continue to focus on those issues and really bring them to the forefront and have great debate and great discussion. I know that,
Slavik is in the middle of her third term as mayor. If she wins, the Plymouth City Council would appoint someone as mayor to fill the remaining 2 years of her term.
And that state Senate seat up for grabs in District 44 is currently held by Democrat Terry Bonoff. But in this presidential election year, a seat like that is one to watch.
Senate 44 has all the makings of being sort of a really swing seat, that Bonoff has held it for years, and partly because of her personality, partly because of her incumbency, has held it solidly as a Democrat one. But a lot of the data in there suggests that this could be a seat that could flip one way or the other.
Hamline University political science professor David Schultz spoke about the polarization of this election cycle to a group of 5 area Rotary clubs. Schultz says what happens at the top of the ticket will affect state and local races in Minnesota.
Assuming, again, Trump versus Clinton, 2 very unpopular candidates, I could see one scenario where voters stay home on election day and just say that they don't like either of the candidates and we have very low turnout. A second scenario could be that it's just certain types of voters that stay home, such as swing voters.
All 201 seats in the Minnesota House and Senate are up for election in November.
A demand for age 55-plus homes has led to new building plans in Maple Grove's gravel mining area. The City Council has approved concept plans for more than 30 detached villa-style homes at the corner of Weaver Lake Road and Norwood Lane. The homes built by Pulte would range in size from 1,600 to 1,900 square feet. The expected selling price is between the low 3s and the low 4s.
For local military families and veterans, having an extra hand to help can be a lifeline during challenging times. It is the goal of the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Network to offer that help, but one of the organizations in our area could really use some volunteers. Last year, the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Quad Communities group helped a disabled veteran from Crystal remodel her home. The group represents Crystal, Robbinsdale, Golden Valley, and New Hope, and they need some volunteers that are willing to respond when veterans and active duty military families need a helping hand.
They really don't have to work on the committee or do anything, but when we have one of these, we need a lawn mowed, we need snow removed, someone needs help changing a tire. It can be any number of things. Maybe they just need a ride somewhere.
If you can be a volunteer for the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Quad Communities, you can find the group on Facebook or call 612-221-9626 to register. Coming up, what's inside that bottle of sunscreen? Doctors say it pays to learn the ingredients.
Then later in sports, a young Totino-Grace softball team is coming on strong. We check in with the Eagles.
But first, slightly cooler on Wednesday, but pretty much a perfect spring day. We'll be right back. Warmer temperatures are finally here, which means more time spent outdoors.
But experts say people need to take precautions before going outside because the most common form of cancer is skin cancer. And in today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland has more on what doctors are doing to promote skin health.
With the flowers in bloom and consistently warm temperatures, it's that time of year for Minnesotans to enjoy some fun in the sun. But according to doctors at the University of Minnesota Clinic in Maple Grove,
and do you have any particular areas of concern today?
Time outside should come with a warning label.
1 in 5 Americans will develop a skin cancer within their lifetime. So skin cancer is very common.
So common, in fact, that the American Academy of Dermatology has designated the first Monday of May as Melanoma Monday. It's a day when patients can get free skin cancer screenings.
And I'm just feeling for any gritty spots.
The event kept U of M dermatologist Hillary Reich busy for several hours.
This is about the 16th or 17th year the University of Minnesota has done Melanoma Monday. Last year we had over 300 patients.
On Melanoma Monday, doctors check patients for various forms of skin cancer by searching for changing or suspicious spots.
and all those look very normal.
But they also teach people how to protect themselves.
The best way to protect against skin cancer is with sun protection, and so this includes sun protective clothing, sun protective behaviors like staying out of the sun during midday, and finally using sunscreens and using them correctly.
Dr. Reich suggests using a sunscreen with an SPF of 30 or higher.
If you use a physical blocker, and this is a sunscreen containing titanium dioxide or zinc oxide, then you can apply that and immediately go into the sun.
If the sunscreen doesn't have those ingredients, then you need to wait 10 minutes after applying before going into the sun. Also, she says lotions are the way to go.
Lotions are probably our favorite because you can see directly where you're putting them. The sprays are a little tricky.
Yet the bottom line is that prevention and early detection are the best ways to protect yourself from skin cancer.
Exactly, yeah. We love getting the word out there.
In Maple Grove, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Dermatologists also urge people to avoid tanning beds. They say tanning beds have been directly associated with increased cases of melanoma, particularly among young women. Coming up, a 90-year-old Plymouth man's push to thank teachers.
But first, two of the area's best teams go head-to-head in boys tennis. Jay Wilcox has that and more when we come back with sports.
Starting with tennis and two pretty good local teams going at it.
Yeah, having good seasons, and you got a chance to see, okay, how they stack up against each other. Maple Grove's boys tennis team got off to a great start this season. This week provides some big tests for the Crimson, though, starting with Wayzata on Monday. Maple Grove coach Alex Dick facing the team he played for in high school. Fourth-ranked Nick Beatty of Wayzata serves to second-ranked Charlie Adkins of Maple Grove in the #1 singles match. Beatty comes in and delivers a volley winner on his way to a 6-1, 6-2 win for the Trojans. Second singles in Maple Grove, Sam Hochberger continues his strong season. He takes this point for match point in a 6-0, 6-0 win over John Foley of Wayzata. Jeff Pronzinski's Trojans are always strong in doubles. At #1, Sam Simon and Alex Schilling take this point and the match 6-2, 6-1 over Ben Bakke and Davis Pfaff. Wayzata receiving serve in the #2 doubles match, and Jack Willis nets them the point as he and Jordan Stevenson beat Justin Liao and Billy Ehlers. Wayzata sweeps the doubles and they win the match 5-2. Maple Grove and Hopkins have made a combined 9 state softball tournament appearances in the 2000s. Maple Grove finished 3rd last year. The Crimson and Royals met in a non-conference matchup, and Maple Grove gets started early. Aaron Roll with a sharp single to right field. It scores Marie Palanch, and it's 1-0 Crimson. Still in the first, Amanda Tyler grounds a single into left field. Emma Schifferle scores, and it's 2-0. The Crimson add another to lead 3-0 after a half an inning. Third inning, Hopkins trailing 4-1. Mackenzie Merritt grounds out to short, but Natalie Den Hartog scores, and it's 4-2. Bottom of the 7th, Hopkins down 5-2, and Merritt gets a base hit between first and second. Into right field, Sid Bloomquist and Den Hartog score, and it's a 5-4 game. Then Lexi Shears hits a ground ball to second that's bobbled for an error. Hannah Kleiss scores, and the game is tied, and we go to extra innings. In the top of the 9th, Schifferle doubles to the gap. Palanch scores all the way from first base, and it is 6-5 Maple Grove. And a great bunt executed by Sophie Colhane plates Schifferle. Maple Grove is up 7-5 after 8.5. Hopkins makes it interesting in the bottom of the 9th when Merritt connects and sends one up on the hill behind center field for a solo home run, but that's as close as the Royals get. Maple Grove wins a thriller 7-6 in 9. Totino-Grace is quietly putting together a solid season in softball. A young Eagles team is gaining confidence. It's a promising, maybe better than expected, start for the Totino-Grace softball team. The Eagles enter Tuesday's game against Elk River with a 6-2 mark.
It's been really exciting. I think that we have a good team. We all work together well, and all of us have a different play or role that we contribute to the team, so it's been really fun. I'm really excited. We had a great start at the beginning of the season, and we hit a little patch where we lost 2 in a row, but we're excited to get back with the wins and get going again in the next few weeks.
Included in a 5-0 start was an extra inning win over Maple Grove. Although the Crimson may not be as strong as they have been, it was still a big one for the Eagles.
I think it was huge because in past years we haven't beaten them like 4 or 5 years, and I think this win, it just shows like how good like our team's going to be this year.
It was just good for our kids to realize they can beat a good program. You know, we talked about before that I told these kids, you guys are good, and I don't think they believed they were good until they beat Maple Grove.
Totino-Grace played well in a loss to then top-ranked Anoka, and they'll have some more good tests coming up. With the switch to 4 classes this spring, the Eagles are in Class 3A, the second largest class. Winning a section title is definitely a possibility, especially after facing a strong Northwest Suburban Conference schedule.
The teams are still competitive, but I feel like we could be the top team coming out and winning, making it to state.
I think we definitely have a really good chance because playing all these tough teams in conference play will just get us that much ready for sections. So we'll be able to go in there with lots of confidence and knowing we'll be the better team.
The next week or so should be a good measuring stick to see just how good the Eagles are. After the game against Elk River Tuesday, the Eagles are at Champlain Park Thursday and host Eden Prairie on Friday. And we'll have highlights of their game with Elk River coming up Wednesday at 4.
All right, thanks a lot, Jay. Up next, a special math tutor's message about teachers.
It's a tough job, and I don't think people realize it.
What he is doing to help honor them coming up next. Here's an opportunity to make sure your bike is good to go and your helmet is fitted properly. The annual bike rodeo takes place Wednesday evening at Sonneson Elementary in New Hope. Fire trucks will be on display, and youth 15 and under can enter for a chance to win prizes, including a new bike. The event takes place from 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, and parking is available at St. Joseph's Parish. Well, finally, a Plymouth man is hoping you will take a moment today or tomorrow to thank a teacher who's had an impact.
In fact, he persuaded the city to proclaim this National Teacher Day and wrote the governor to do the same.
Thank a teacher by a note, an email, maybe a gift, some kind of recognition to let the teachers know they are important.
As a volunteer math tutor, Andy Anderson saw the challenges that teachers face firsthand. He says keeping students on task, offering extra help to those who need it, and keeping stronger students motivated at the same time all comes with the job.
That's a really tough job. I don't think most people appreciate what they have to do in the classroom to keep everybody motivated.
Anderson got the idea when he volunteered as a math tutor at Sunset Hill Elementary in Plymouth. Today in the hallway, there was a special table for students and their parents where they could fill out thank you notes to teachers.
Everybody's got a special teacher that they want to thank.
Yes, that is true that you remember.
Don't forget to do it, because when you get my age, it's too late.
That's right.